actually two processes that schools or teachers take to help students who are not performing well. Those two processes are remediation and intervention. Remediation takes place when it is determined that that child has a difficult time learning. In that case, different accommodations and modifications are made to assist that child. For example, it may be decided that the child may need more time on their test, or it may even be decided that that child only needs multiple choice questions on their test. Intervention, on the other hand, happens most of the time in the classroom when a teacher is teaching a specific skill and the teacher may see that a student in the classroom is not understanding what she's teaching, which may be adding fractions. Now, this doesn't mean that that child has a learning disability or has problems learning or difficult time learning. It just means that they're not grasping what the teacher is saying at that point. In that case, the teacher has to come up with different strategies or take a different route to help that student understand. But it does not mean that that child has some type of learning disability. In order to do these two processes, remediation and intervention, effectively, I've created 4 tips that I've learned to help me from my experience. The first tip is to use questions. Many times as educators or even as parents at home, we handicap our children. We want to teach our children to be able to problem solve, which is a skill that many of our children lack. And so we use questions in the classroom to help us do this. For example, if I have a student who tells me that 2 times 2 is 5, well, I know that that isn't correct, but instead of saying, well, John, that isn't correct. 2 times 2 is not 5. What's 2 times 2? Instead, I can say, well, John, explain to me, show me using a picture how you determined that 2 times 2 was 5. In that instant, that may be a learning opportunity. You may see that your child or that child, your student, may not know how to come up with 2 times 2. If they don't know how to show you that that's not true, that 2 times 2 is 5, that that's not true, then that's a learning opportunity to help them understand what it means to multiply. So questions really do a great deal to help us during our times of remediation and intervention. Second tip is to use math talk cards. We want our children to feel like mathematicians. Many students struggle with math. Students struggle with language, period, too. They don't know how to communicate with each other. So in the classroom, we want to create a community of mathematicians. Students who know how to do math, who know how to talk about math. And so when you do this, what this does, in my experience, is create confidence in students. When students start out with, I disagree with you because, or I agree with you because, or explain to me how you came up with that answer. When they're talking to each other like that, it makes them feel bigger than they are. It makes them feel really, really big. It makes them feel like mathematicians, like they're on the level with our college engineers or engineers out here in the work field. It makes them feel really good, which makes them work better, makes them work together better. And so collaboration is just awesome in the classroom when they're learning to talk like mathematicians. And so this creates better results during our small group time of remediation and intervention. One thing that I've learned that has made that small group time of remediation and intervention very smooth is to have a materials bin. This materials bin holds all the things that I would need for all of my different types of learners. So if I'm having a time of intervention and I'm working on a specific skill for this week, I'm going to have different things in that bin that will apply to all of my learners. For example, I may have a Chromebook in that bin, to help with my learners who work better when they see it on a video. I would have place value blocks, some type of manipulative to help my kinesthetic learners who needs to actually see it and hold it and feel it to understand what I'm trying to teach at that time. So having that being there helps me to make sure that that time goes by smooth. I have everything that I need for everybody. Being prepared is basically the whole thing. Being prepared so that you can get more done more effectively during that time of small group remediation or small group intervention. Last but not least, my tip number 4 would be to have documentation binders or documentation folders. Sometimes, every now and then, you have a parent who will come to you and tell you that they feel like you're not doing all that you can for their child. It is great to have proof, documentation of what you are doing every week, every day, however you want to do it with that child, to ensure that they are succeeding, to ensure that you are doing what you can. Now, can you control every student? Can you control what every student does or does not do? No, but you can control what you do. You can control the effort that you put forth. And so when you have a binder or a folder there to actually show that you're putting forth the effort to help every child, it makes you look better when you're talking to that parent. It makes that parent feel better to know that you are actually doing what you are supposed to do in that classroom with that student. And so it may actually help them to realize that, hey, I need to do something at home to ensure that I am helping my child to the best of my ability as well, because it seems like the teacher is doing her best. So having documentation of all the things that you do, remediation and intervention, is very, very helpful. These are my 4 tips to help to make sure that your time of remediation and intervention goes smoothly. Another thing that I would also advise is to do these things daily, Monday through Friday, excluding the weekends, whether you're a teacher or a parent. If you are a parent, you may want to ask the teacher what skills your child or your children don't have or don't grasp. They may be performing on a first grade level in the 4th grade simply because they have a learning disability or they have difficulties learning. And so at that point, they need remediation. They need to go back to flashcards to get their basic facts, addition facts, or multiplication facts. They need that. And then on the other hand, have that time of intervention where you see, this is the skill that my child or this is the skill that my student is working on this week. Let's get other strategies to help them understand what we're doing with adding and subtracting fractions. I hope this was very helpful to you, and in the description box I will have a link to math talk cards that you may download to help you at home or in your classroom to promote having an atmosphere of mathematicians in your classroom. It'll definitely boost their confidence, and it will help you in the long run as well.